So I find myself in the centre of town. I'm taking the chance to watch a couple of movies this evening. I've just seen one, which was called Small Things Like These with Cillian Murphy, about a story back in time, I assume the 70s or 80s, around Ireland. But it's a poignant film, and it's touching upon some of the subjects that we know about, so it might be worth watching it. And then I'm going to see Gladiator 2, we'll see what that's like. So anyway, we're 64 days away. You can hear a bit of a band about a quarter of a mile down the road, and I think it's a Rocky theme. It's a Rocky music, I think. With Sylvester, I'll talk about him in a second again. So 64 days. 64 is Jubilee, Tenet, the Beatles song Will You Still Love Me When I'm 64. Well, I've spoken about that before. And 64. I'm actually here by some lions. Can you see these lions? It's like a lion's gate here, a lion's portal. You've got the two lions. It's like in Back to the Future with the lions. Because it's the lion's gate. Lions is 69. Gate is 33. That's 102, which is dimension. And then Lion's Gate, as it's spelt in Back to the Future. I think it's the Lions Estate, if I remember rightly, but Lyons, Lions, or Leons, like the French name with an S, is 85, which is Storm, which is Awakening. Hey, Corrine, how are you? And so Lions Gate will be 118, which is the Awakening, which is the Storm, which is Guy Fawkes' cousin Paul's birthday, January 18th. The Matrix, so there you go. So it's kind of a portal here, I guess, with the lions. It's different energy in this part of town, but anyway, all things are getting cleaned up. So yesterday I was talking about Sylvester, and we saw him endorse President Trump. And something he says at the beginning of his speech, it's not long, and he checks he's, done everything in terms of timing, etc. So have a look at the full thing. It's not long. Maybe I'll post it on Twitter. But he starts off and he makes reference to Rocky. So it was interesting that we had a bit of it kind of mumbled in the background with Rocky. And Rocky, the opening scene of Rocky, there's a, I think it might, is it the Magdalene? It might be. That was connected in the film I've just seen, actually. So they take both sides of the numbers. Mary Magdalene's 119, actually, interesting enough. It's Redemption 119, it's Nikola Tesla 119, but it's also the bad A word. It seems like both sides have claimed that number and that name. But there's a kind of might be the Mother Mary Magdalene, or it's a religious kind of picture where Rocky's doing the fighting, and he makes reference to it in this when he was at Mar-a-Lago just a couple of days ago. We got 77 in the chat, which is Christ, which is power, and 22 thumbs up, which is Deal MAGA. There we go. We're on time. We're on point. And so he makes reference to this, and then he says about the resurrection. Now, I've been saying for a long, long time, if people have been with me since the beginning of this journey, over the last 3-4, well, I started over 4.5 years ago, but I've been talking about President Trump being the resurrection since 2020. So almost since the beginning of my numbers on YouTube. And the reason for that is because the resurrection 165, well, 165 is resurrection, but the resurrection 198 is President Trump 198. And so it's fitting that Sylvester Stallone will tell us that. Sylvester Stallone is 243, John F. Kennedy, Eternal Flame. So there's a reference to the resurrection of JFK. 243 is also Westminster City, and actually it would be City of Westminster. So that right? City of Westminster. Yeah, I believe it would be that, or the City of Westminster. Anyway, City of Westminster, I believe it is. 243 is also JFK. That's also Central Intelligence Agency. And last week I was putting up, well, around November 5th, I mentioned on Twitter about the Q posts that talk about something really nefarious to do with cooking, and I'll leave it at that. And that's 165 in numbers. That's 165. So it's their version of resurrection, basically. Resurrection is God's way, other physics way, 165. But on the bad side, their version is, think of the Chelsea Football Club, previous Chelsea Football Club owner, and a woman that's connected with Lady Gaga, etc. They say that's her mother, and also could be connected to Robert Maxwell. Anyway, that woman who does these things, she has a method of doing what she does. But anyway, that's 165 in numbers as well. Cooking. I'll leave it at that. They say Hugh Jackman's connected to that as well. Well, there's a picture of him there with Simon Cowell on it. But anyway, so that's a reverse. See, so the thing is, this matrix, this simulation that we're in, this creation that we're in, dark and light know the numbers. And quite often they'll do the exact reverse of something that is good to bring about their evil purposes, but doing it in an evil way. And I've noticed that. Hence the A word, the bad word, is 119, and Nikola Tesla is 119. So the exact reverse. It's the exact reverse. But the resurrection, going back to the good side, is 198 in numbers, which is President Trump, 198. Talking of tenet, temporal pincer, and I think at some point we're going to understand that more. Real Kim Shady, she's good on that on Twitter, very good on that. But tenet, where they have a blue team and a red team, one moving, or red team moving forward, blue team moving back, and they meet in the middle. They call it temporal pincer. Temporal pincer is also 165, which is resurrection 165, which is other physics 165. And so you can see how all these numbers balance each other out. I think there'll be something like that, Frida. I think there will be. I think there will be a point. I think there will be a line in the sand when we get that. I think it'll be very beneficial. But the big boys are running this operation in a magnificent way, and so whatever's coming is coming, and it will be there. So I saw something. I haven't been able to examine it very much, but I saw a post. I think it was late last night. Someone's put out the idea, and as with all these things, I mean, it sounds magnificent. I don't even know it's possible, but they're saying that there's some legal amendments, I guess. Anyway, something to do with the UK can actually be technically part of the United States, which is amazing. That's brilliant. I mean, that, talking about a trump card, President Trump's got many trump cards, but that's a brilliant trump card. If that's possible, that would be awesome. That would be really amazing. That would remedy many things all at once. That would be awesome. And yeah, that would be amazing. So we've been, I mean, the underlying feeling is that still the US is still under the crown in the UK. The crown, you know, the corporation, but the crown, the royals, but I know they use the same words. But all of that, anyway, that mess, that legalese, that fiction. And so if that comes down, which it has done, but it will come down publicly, the thought was it would free the US from that. But what if the US could absorb the UK into it and become a state? I'd heard that places like Canada and Australia would be part of the US. But imagine if the UK could be. That would be brilliant. I mean, there was the thing going around a few days ago about, do you want President Trump as your Prime Minister? And I was like, yeah, a big yes, big thumbs up for that. And we'd obviously all voted for him if we could. I mean, we voted for him energetically and publicly, but we could have done a tick in the box. But imagine that. I mean, that's just brilliant. If that's possible, and something tells me that probably is. I haven't studied it, but just when I heard it, I was like, that makes sense. That feels correct. That feels brilliant. So we'll see what happens with that. And maybe some of you guys and girls know more about that or can study it out and we can talk more about it. But yeah. And I also put out the video of on my Twitter. So have a look at this. I put out on Twitter my video. I spoke about it a couple of weeks ago when I discovered it. But, you know, I said the film Heretic, about 2 Mormon missionaries, 2 girls, they knock on Hugh Grant's door, and that's when the story kind of descends into, it's crazy. It's kind of a horror, I guess, a thriller. Not really my kind of style of film, but I was attracted to watch it because it was about Mormon missionaries. And I did that job back in, when I was 19, I was brought up a Mormon. I left back in 2010, so 14 years ago, which allowed me to see the good things in it and also energetically remove myself. Because bearing in mind, 88 in numbers equals Trump, which equals Mormon. The Book of Mormon is 185, Donald John Trump. And Salt Lake City is 138, Donald Trump. And Utah 50 is also Donald. But I know, like many of you are beginning to know now, that he sacked them as well, and part of the capitulation tour. Oh, bless you, Teresa. That's funny. I wouldn't have any idea about all the political stuff. But if President Trump wants me to do some stuff, I'll gladly do whatever whatever my whatever gifts I get given to be able to do, I'll do it. But I feel as we go into Aquarius, we'll go into the Great Awakening. We're going into it now, but we'll get the chance probably to teach and help people understand certain things, and I'm sure it'll be within this for framework and other things. But thank you. Thanks for the vote of confidence. I've stayed away from politics for so long. I always knew it was a fiction. President Trump knows that as well, because politics is 111 illusion. But also, if you can have a beautiful system, a God system, it's 111, which is perfection as well. New York, 111. I am Trump, 111. The Kennedy, 111. Genesis Magic, 111. Anyway, that being said, it'd be awesome, President Trump being the UK Prime Minister as well. That'd be great. With Diana, see, Diana could be it, you know, Queen. Anyway, we're going to see all that. I do feel like we're now at the beginning. President Trump said it's just beginning. But there's something in the air, something really magical, something really beautiful that we can all feel. We've got the 144 in the chat. 144 is the frequency, and 50 thumbs up, so that takes you to 194, which is September the 11th. And we have to see a reversal of that at some point. Hey Sue, how you doing? So yeah, but anyway, I was saying about this film. So if you go to my Twitter, you'll see I've done a thread on it, and I put the video up. It's only a couple of minutes long, but go and have a look at it, and you'll see my description of it. So the point is, when I was a missionary, I was in Scotland, 88 Trump. Edinburgh, 88 Trump. Scotland, Edinburgh is 176. Back to the Future, 176. November the 5th, 176. Real Tom numbers, 176. Anyway, so I was a missionary, a young missionary, and the guy that had been out for 11 months before me was my buddy Chad. We're still great friends now. He lives in Arizona, but he showed me the ropes, taught me to be a great baptizer. President Trump's talked about baptizers as well before. Him and Ivanka did it in 2020. I'll dig out the video and I'll do a thread on that. And also John the Baptist 167 is 24, and we're in the year of 2024. Old Harry Rocks is 167, and President Trump came down the escalator on the 167th day of the year. Day 167 is 197, Every Last Secret, that's the book in the Sliced Alone. And we got 167 in the chat right now. Sorry, 157, beg your pardon. I'm just looking at, yeah, 157, correction. Which is The Simpsons, which is Brooklyn Bridge, which is Trump is King. And Brooklyn appeared on my, that was on my t-shirt, the very first show I ever did. When I spoke about Space Force and Ivanka and Trump and 17 and Q, and I was still connecting the dots. But you'll see, I found it all intrinsically, and then it all, you know, it all became clearer and clearer. So, what was I saying? But the video, yeah, so I was known as Elder Bushnell. Chad was Elder Howie. Because they say not to, you know, give out your first names when you're missionaries. I guess it, you know, kind of keeps you just focused on it. You have a tag. You might have seen them walking around. If you see them, say hello. They're good people. They are Christian. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Mormons do get a hard rap. I've noticed that because I can speak from experience. People that aren't Mormons, if they're outside of being a Mormon, they always somehow get it incorrect about them. A little bit like in the Truther movement and about President Trump. So people not in it always get it a bit wrong. Their information is always a bit incorrect. And I would say that about Mormon church, about the Mormons. But they were, the people, the normal members have no idea that it got corrupted, just like every other institution in the world pretty much that got corrupted. And the big tell on that is President Trump gave them their notice. He walked in front of them with the trolley, the shopping trolley. So the Mormon prophet had to walk behind Trump just like he did, President Trump did with the Pope, with the Queen, with Charles, with everyone. So you know what I'm talking about with that. Oh, bless you, I hope you're okay, Teresa. Anyway, so, but there was a woman that me and Chad taught in our first area, and she joined, she baptized, she joined, and she was called Vicky, and Duffy, actually. A bit like Shane Duffy. Is it Shane Duffy? No, Keith Duffy. Is it Keith Duffy? Keith Duffy or Shane? I'm getting my Boyzone. One of the guys is awake. I can't remember. It's Shane, isn't it? So Shane's not Duffy. That's Keith. Anyway, so we taught her, and Doolin, James. Yeah. Anyway, it's years ago, but she was quite cheeky. She was a lot of fun, and she said, "Come on, tell us what your names are." So eventually we told her. So she'd always, from that point, there's Hearn, there's Barry Hearn. Not really, but I know Barry Hearn. And Hearn, or Barry, is 64, one of them. There you go. So that was just a van going past, Hearn group. But anyway, so Vicky got the name out of us. So she'd always call Chad Chad, and then she'd call me Tam, because Tom is Tam in Scottish. The Scottish word for Tom is Tam, or Thomas is Tam. Anyway, so at the beginning of this trailer, not the trailer, beginning of this clip I put up for the film Heretic, about two sister missionaries, Mormon sister missionaries, knocking on the door in the rain. The storm's coming. That's the other thing. The storm's happening, and they get a rude awakening from the evil Hugh Grant, actually. But they check their callback list, and the two names at the top of the list are is Chad and is Tam. It's Tom. So just work this out, folks. What's the likelihood of that? A film about Mormon missionaries that really hasn't been done before. There's been some other kind of indie ones that maybe didn't get a national release, but not with someone like Hugh Grant. And then I've been doing numbers for over 4.5 years in the Great Awakening since 2020. And I've spoken openly about being a Mormon. I mean, I don't go there now. I wouldn't say I'm an ex-Mormon, but well, I just don't go. But it's taught me numbers and codes. And 88 is Trump, 88 is Mormon. Scotland's 88. But what's the likelihood, really? What's the likelihood of that in reality? From a 3D perspective, what's the statistics of that happening? A film about Mormon missionaries. I served a mission in Scotland when I was 19 for 2 years, and my trainer companion was Chad, and we were the two best in terms of numbers of baptisms. Chad left he extended for a month. So by the time he left, just over a year later, he was the highest baptizer in the mission, meaning he converted the most people. And then a year after that, I extended, and I went. Well, by the time I went home, I was the biggest. The biggest. That sounds a bit braggadocious. I was the highest baptizer. Hey, it's Trump. I'm a virtual son of Trump, so I don't mind saying that. I was in terms of baptisms, I was the highest baptizer. So I was the most successful. I scored the most number of goals, if you call it that way. Like Letitia and Ricky, I was the highest. Me and Chad were the highest goal scorers. There were others that came after we'd gone, and they broke records later, but we were the record holders at the time. So you know what I mean. Anyway, but on the callback list in the film is Chad and Tam. Then, if you go to Twitter, I've put out a picture of me and Chad when we said goodbye to each other. Actually, we had new team. They call them companions, so you just go in twos. And then I got Elder Stanley, Chad got Elder Gallagher, and we just all met at the train station in Glasgow to move the areas. I stayed in Greenock. Chad went to Dumbarton, which was the rock across the water of the Clyde, and the other guys came in from wherever they were. I think Stanley was up on Stornoway or something. He came from quite a way down to pair up with me, and we were only together I think for a month or two, something like that. I can't remember. Anyway, but me and Chad have been great buddies since. I went to his wedding and everything. I know his family, and the first time I ever saw The Apprentice was in Arizona at Chad's home with all his family, and his dad was a big Trump fan, and that's the first time I really saw Ivanka Trump. So everything comes full circle, everyone. We've got 189 in the chat, which is my birthday, which is February 15th. There you go. So, hey Teresa. But there's a picture of me. Go and have a look on Twitter. And I'm a young, handsome man. I'm a handsome man now, but I'm younger. And you'll see the picture of me and Chad at the station, and look at the word in between the two of us, behind us in the photo. There's a word. Guess what the word is? I'm lucky, I guess, Karen. I work out the numbers. The downloads come, and I can remember the numbers, what they are. I work them out, write them down, type it out on your phone or by pen. It's easier on your phone probably. Just create a record of all your personal numbers and numbers that come to you. Then you'll get into the dozens, the hundreds, the thousands, tens of thousands, and you just have a great dictionary, thesaurus of gematria. That's how I do it. But it's always the download first. It's the info. It's the synchronicity first. And anyway, so guess what the number is? Guess what the word is between me and Chad in this picture of when we departed ways. We met up later in the mission, but guess what the word is? Someone might even see on Twitter, but the word is Q. Q-U-E. It's literally right on my shoulder and on my head. It's just here. Well, it's there actually. If you're looking at the picture, it's there. It's there. And then Chad's next to me. And I'd seen that picture before, but I hadn't looked at it for a long time. And then I didn't realise the word Q was there. I was like, no way. So I've put that on the Twitter thread as well. So you know that what I'm telling you is the gospel. It is. And a big shout out to all my friends from mission days. There were many other really great missionaries that I was friends with as well. And they were successful like me and Chad as well. So I wanted to give a shout out to them because they'll know who they are. And yeah, some of them I've been speaking to over the last 24 hours just about the beautiful synchronicities and numbers with the film. But the film is, like I said, a horror. So there's double meanings with that as well. And I think people are going to find out in time. But nevertheless, I'm grateful for the synchronicities. And when they're there, I have to speak about them because that's how it works. We speak, we share the numbers, we share the synchronicities, and then that has a positive effect around the globe, around the consciousness. It wakes everyone up, and it also prepares for what truths will get revealed later down the line. So I'm ready for that, and there'll be more on this thread. There'll be more on this thread. And 194 is a very important missionary as well. 194. So 194 is September 11th. 194 is New Yorker Hotel. And I think 194 is also 5th of the 11th, if I remember rightly. So they're intrinsically connected. 199 is Sidney Charles Wood, my grandfather. And that was the other one I did on Twitter. I did Eileen. Well, actually, so my grandmother, the day before it was her birthday, and I said the observer effect, or I am the observer effect, is 205, so the quantum physics, because that's what's happening. And the Great Awakening, this whole thing, this waking up of consciousness around the Earth, is allowing quantum physics to be far more in action without any blockages. It's reducing them. So we'll get to the point where we speak and it manifests instantly. Right now is what's happening with speaking, we're connecting dots, and then things kind of manifest either right now or a few hours later, or a day or two later, or a week later, but they come back. And some of them manifest in the past as well, and then they meet. So but what I was saying was Heretic is 68, which is Doctor Who, which is Baron, which is Mar-a-Lago. And Heretic is standing up against the establishment, isn't it? If I understand correctly the meaning of the word. And so, yeah, I guess we are heretics. And then Heretic plus Elder Bushnell. Elder Bushnell is 132, which is it 132? Is that right? Yeah, Elder Bushnell was one. I'm thinking it was 132. No, it's 133. Hang on. Has anyone got a calculator? So Elder 44 plus Bushnell, so that'd be 97. No, it's 137. Correction. So Elder Bushnell is 137, which comes to President JFK. It comes to 17th. It comes to Tesseract code, which is what all this is as well. Paul Bushnell 143, the Tesseract November 5th 143, Melania Trump 143, Building 7 143, Ground Zero 143. But yeah, Elder Bushnell, Elder's 44, Anon, Mask, Faith, Hope. Bushnell's 93, Flotus, Kingship. But if you add them together, yeah, 137. And then if you do 137 plus Heretic, so Elder Bushnell 137 plus Heretic 68, Mar-a-Lago, Doctor Who, Baron, Wayne, Mr. Wayne, then that comes to 205, which comes to on the 5th, on November the 5th, Eileen Mary Adelaide Wood, my grandmother, and it comes to Madison Square Garden, which is a big part of all of this, and obviously the rally. And 205 is also I am the observer effect, which is what quantum physics is. That's what they describe it as. Which is also I am the flux capacitor, and they say in Back to the Future that the flux capacitor is the device that makes time travel possible, which is 182. The flux capacitor is also the observer effect. So there you have it, folks. That's what it is. We've got 192 in the chat. That's Ivanka Marie Trump. That's also John George Trump, Uncle George. Well, Uncle John, I should say. 103 is it's now 104, but yeah, 103 is Princess. All right, everyone. Hey, Mareed White, lovely to see you from Ireland. Excellent. All right, everyone. Well, you got more of it out of me today. I was expecting to be quite quick with this one because of the circumstances, but I've managed to duck and dive and weave in and out of some of the locals and a few interesting characters and some normal characters as well. I guess everyone's interesting at some level, so you know. Click the links below. Shun got an organizer there, and also get on Substack. And people were asking, how to support my work. If you join Substack, you can become a founding member, and you'll get your name in the book when that's out. Or you can do a monthly, and it just contributes to my work. So thank you for all those that are doing that. I appreciate it, and thank you. And I'll see you tomorrow. So Synchronicity 190, or Synchronicities 111, New York. Perfection. So I'll see you tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be down to 63 days until inauguration, if that's the day that it happens. So, or what happens, what may be coming, we're going to find out. We're going to find out. Look at can you see the moon? It's been a couple of nights of full moon recently, so some of the Christmas stuff as well. All right, everyone, much love. I will see you tomorrow. You take care.